Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the third annual pitch competition. My name is Kwame Elmer. I'm the Executive Director of MedTech Color. It is a pleasure to be with you all today. A special thank you to our sponsors and partners for making this event possible. I am delighted to introduce our host for this afternoon, Dr. Angelique Johnson. She's the CEO and founder of MemStem and Visionarium, and one of the founding members of MedTech Color. Dr. Johnson, you ready to start this?
I'm ready to get it going. Listen, guys, I made this comment. I don't have much time. I just want to make it. I hope they'll give me grace with this. I made this comment to the finalists in the back, but there's many other founders in the room as well. And I told them this: we're giving away $75,000 top prize, lots of other money going, I think almost over $200,000 being given away today. But it's not about that money, right? We say it's not about the money, it's always about the money. Listen, it's always about the money, okay? But it's not about the $75,000, it's about the over $1 billion represented in this room. Between the judges panel, right, I'm looking right, we got the NIH, right? We got in here, the sky's the limit. And then so it's about the connections and the relationships you're gonna build here that are gonna lead to even more capital. So we're just praying that everybody would keep that in mind today, even as you're watching them pitch. If you're not pitching today, be building relationships, connecting with MedTech Color even beyond this. So let's get started right in. We're gonna have Vanessa start by introducing herself, and we'll have the judges panel go down.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Vanessa Pollard. I lead the food and drug law practice at McDermott, Will & Emery. It's a global law firm. I also co-chair the global life sciences practice, and I am a proud founding member and board member of MedTech Color.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Bienvenidos. My name is Ricardo Dos Santos. I am the entrepreneur in residence at a really cool company in San Diego in Australia called ResMed. And yeah, I've been involved with this competition for 3 years. I can't get enough of it. Can't wait to get started. Good luck to everyone.
Hello, and bienvenidos as well. My name is Luis Gutierrez. I'm here representing the NIH, where I serve as an entrepreneur in residence in their Small Business Educational and Entrepreneurial Development Office, the $1 billion that was referred to earlier. And I'm eager to see the contestants.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good luck to all of you, and thank you for having me. My name is Tzachi Levy. I'm an R&D director for Johnson & Johnson MedTech, a worldwide market leader in electrophysiology and cardiac arrhythmia treatment. I'm leading an activity that is new technology development end-to-end for Biosense Webster.
I'll say good day, everybody. My name is Ingrid Ellerby. I'm the Executive Director of Diversity by Doing Health Tech, which is an initiative out of Stanford Biodesign and Fogarty Innovation. And we are really looking forward to what's going to happen here today, and I can't wait to see your presentations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, judges. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the relationships that you're building in the room today. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first finalists. These pitches are going to go fast, guys. We are here for a good time, not a long time. All right? So let's please welcome Debbie Dickinson, CEO and co-founder of Thermaband. She's going to come up and give her pitch.
What a delight.
Hello, everyone. I am Debbie Dickinson, the co-founder and CEO of Thermaband, where my daughter and I have created a health tech solution to empower women in midlife with immediate relief and actionable insights. Is there a feedback, or is that my imagination? Keep going with the feedback? All right, okay, no problem. Thermaband was born from my own lived experience as a woman experiencing menopausal symptoms, or perimenopausal women, with debilitating hot flashes, which seems like a personal inferno that rages within and can strike day or night. Like so many women, I purchased many things on the market, and had a very difficult time finding solutions that would curtail the embarrassing and life-altering effects of hot flashes. 93% of women are seeking a non-invasive tech solution. So we collaborated with experts and menopausal experts and women, menopausal women as well, and built it. Over 1 billion women are in menopause, and 80% experience debilitating hot flashes, which can last 10 years or more, which significantly impair quality of life and occupational productivity. And as we can see in the rising healthcare costs and productivity loss, many women are detrimentally affected by these symptoms. And 1 in 5 have either left the workforce or considered doing so because of lack of symptom support. Introducing the Thermaband Zone and Companion app. The Zone is the only wearable that provides immediate preemptive hot flash relief and key biometric insights, and considered a game changer by industry experts and our early adopters. We have several patents pending on both technology and design. A little bit about how it works. The Zone harnesses the science of thermoregulation, the award-winning science, which is the body's ability to perceive comfort using temperature and touch. And we do this by using the receptors on the inner wrist. The Zone also captures clinically relevant data through the connected app. In terms of the device efficacy, we have 150 hot flash sufferers who have experienced significant relief using the device, and a 67% reduction in hot flash interference. In terms of the competitive moat or device, in addition to the award-winning design features, we are the only device that has preemptive activation, as well as the key insights through a connected app. The Zone is offered at $299, and we also have a subscription model for insights and these key features. In terms of our team, we have a very passionate and experienced team. And my daughter and I both have business degrees from Wharton and Yale. And actually, we incubated the business at Yale while she was a student there. I have over 30 years of industry and entrepreneurial experience, and my co-founder has supply chain and manufacturing experience. And overall, we have a team with startup as well as hardware, software, thermal expertise, and consumer goods as well as a number of advisors who are physicians and clinical experts. In terms of our traction, we've sold over 150,000 in revenues, I should say, and which continues to grow at 8% week over week, and we also have several distribution channels secured. We're strategically targeting the hot flash, 700 million hot flash market, and then expanding to other markets in the thermal wearable space. We're initially D2C using PR and social media, and then expanding to B2B with employer wellness programs and healthcare systems. Zone is in production. We've tested, and we are actually looking to a controlled launch this summer. We're raising to scale manufacturing and we're raising 250, have 80% soft circle are committed, and have a room for a few more key advisors before we close at the end of this month. So thank you all. We appreciate the time. We look forward to any questions that you may have. Join us in empowering women with comfort as well as control and community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing job. Just a small $700 million family business. So we'll start with the judges. We'll start with Ricardo actually first and cue you off.
Well, first of all, great job dealing with the feedback, Debbie.
Thank you. What's wrong here?
And way to get us started. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Archaea, you should be proud. So it's rare to see an idea that's both super cool and super hot. little Peltier effect humor for everyone. Anyway, I am not a woman in your target market, but if I were, what would you say why I should buy your product versus Ember?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. And we have asked that question, and really this was born out of the studies that we did with folks using other products on the market. And what we recognized is it was great to confirm that using thermoregulation and the rest, I was not the crazy one, it works, right? It worked for me, it works for many. And heating and cooling, because sometimes we're hot or cold. But in addition to wanting instant relief, we want insights. We want to know what's happening with our bodies. In addition to that, not only is it, it's great to just hit a button manually, but to have it sense our body and activate automatically, like when we're sleeping or our hands are busy, turns on, it preemptively turns on. So before discomfort is experienced, this thing is already working. And we have insights. We want to know what's happening with our bodies to be able to have data to share with our physicians.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're always coached to show that it works and not so much delve into why it works, and you did that. But I'd like to know more about how it works.
Okay. So how it works, there are a couple of things. So in terms of the device, it's the Peltier effect, is a thermoelectric machine. So it seems like that's what's in a car seat. You hit a button, it turns cold. You hit a button, it turns hot. So thermoelectric pump, that heating and cooling. From a scientific standpoint, it's really the body's ability to naturally perceive temperature and touch. So when we have a hot flash, we can put our hands into cold running water. We can hold on to an icy glass of water. We can stick our heads in the freezer. The cool sensation helps. A hot flash is the body's ability to cool us down. Low estrogen levels ignites the hypothalamus, so the body is now cooling us down. We're not actually overheating. So when the sensor, in any sensor, there are many receptors on the body, when the brain receives a cool sensation, what we find is the hot flash does not fully mature. It doesn't fully mature, doesn't last as long, it tends to dissipate. So we are bringing a tech solution to many non-tech things that women are doing right now to find solution by simply using thermoregulation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, judges. Thank you so much, Debbie. Awesome, wonderful. Give her a round of applause. Great job. We're going to let the judges wrap up scoring, but we're going to get right into it, at least it's prepping for the next finalist, and that is Peter, and I do not want to butcher your last name, but so please forgive me. Yongwei? Are you here, Peter? It may not have sounded like your name, but it was. Okay, CEO and founder of Oban Health. Is Peter here with us today? Okay, looks like they're coming through. Awesome. Well, you guys, one thing that I love about this pitch competition that's different from a lot of the other ones that I've been involved with and that I've hosted is that here, we're really not just about giving you guys one day of activities, but there was an actual accelerator program of master classes that led into this pitch competition. And that was actually a lot more valuable, again, than what's being offered today, not only because of relationships, because of the knowledge. The participants here, I asked some of them, have said this is the first time that they're pitching. I'm surprised, already seeing the first pitch, but they got training in the master classes. Peter, come up. We're just conversating a little bit as we wait for you for your grand entrance. So the CEO and founder of Oban Health. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch right into it. Thank you, Peter. We're going to have you kick us off.
Thank you. Raise your hand if you know someone that's been affected by heart disease. The number of hands raised right now is exactly the reason we're here. Grab my clicker. Heart disease is a $1.1 trillion problem, and the leading cause of death in the US killing over 697,000 Americans every year. Did you know that close to 50% of the people who die from heart disease are black and brown? Compounding this problem is that health systems are facing significant shortages in provider resources. This is especially felt in the lack of culturally competent providers who can provide the kind of care needed by this patient population. Third, current solutions fail disease and symptoms focused and fail to address the underlying traumas and social determinants of health and gaps in care that are creating the disease in the first place. This problem is deeply personal to me. Pictured here is my brother, Paul. A few years ago, Paul passed away from uncontrolled hypertension at the age of 36 in his sleep. This was entirely preventable and should never have happened. Unfortunately, this is the reality in too many Black and brown communities across the country. And at Oban, we're here to put a stop to this. We're building a digital application to help reverse chronic heart disease in low-income Black and brown communities. We do this by partnering with at-risk providers and payers, and we're starting by focusing on hypertension. Patients who are referred by providers to Oban usually start from one of these three categories. Could be preventative treatment, recently diagnosed, or had an acute event. Here's what a patient journey looks like. I want you to meet Keisha. Keisha was recently diagnosed with uncontrolled hypertension and has been referred to Oban by her provider. In addition to her diagnosis, she's a mom of 2, works 2 to 3 jobs, lives in a food and financially insecure area. Unfortunately, the health system doesn't have a full, complete picture of Keisha's life. Here's how we do it at Oban. First, we have Keisha go through a customized assessment on our HIPAA-compliant platform, where we get information such as what she's been diagnosed with, genetic information, and family history of heart disease. We also get lifestyle risk factors such as nutrition, stress management, and exercise. But here's where the magic happens. We do a deep dive into the social determinants of health that are impacting Keisha's care. So we look at things like, does she have access to food? Does she have a kitchen? Can she cook at home? Does she feel safe in her neighborhood? And we do one more layer. We look at adverse childhood experiences because we know there's a direct correlation between that and her health outcome. Once we do that, our algorithm creates a simple, culturally competent treatment plan that's easy enough for Keisha to get started with and maintain for the duration of the program. We also ensure that aspects of this plan have billable CPT codes, which our provider friends love very much because they can get reimbursed. As part of this program, Keisha also gets an AI-assisted community health coach and patient navigator. We know she has questions, so this helps her manage her healthcare, answer any questions she needs, and coordinate resources. So she can ask questions like, I don't have enough money to pay my medication, or I can't make my next hospital appointment, I need help with transportation, and we can coordinate this with her provider. We have a reward system to keep Keisha engaged throughout the program, and the main clinical outcome we're looking at right now is blood pressure reduction and normalization over 12 weeks. So far, we've had 200 patients on our platform, a 3,500 plus user wait list, over 70% user engagement, and $300,000 in upcoming revenue by working with some premier health systems. We make money by charging $100 per engaged patient per month. I'll be happy to dive into our revenue model and go-to-market strategy in the Q&A. Bringing this product to life is a team with over 30 years of experience working at healthcare and technology companies like Shopify, Kaiser, Sutter, as well as Oracle. We're backed by a robust team of advisors who have experience serving the patient population that we're looking at targeting. Our user funds over the next year is to fund our paid pilots, building new integrations with the health systems we're working with, add features like text messaging, and grow and scale Oban. Heart disease is a huge market that's still fragmented and in need of value-based care solutions like Oban, where we can help avoid over 46,000 deaths annually. Today is a really impactful day for me, as it is the anniversary of my brother's passing. So I started Oban to ensure that no family would ever go through that pain anymore. So if you're passionate about helping patients like Keisha, if you're passionate about solving the health inequality crisis in the US, and if you're passionate about ensuring that preventable deaths from heart disease are a thing of the past, I would love for you to join us, and let's solve this problem together. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Great job. Now we're going to have our judges, Vanessa and Ingrid. We'll start with Vanessa.
So Peter, first of all, great job.
Thank you.
And I'm so sorry for the loss of your brother, but thank you for what you're doing and the impact that you're making for his life and for our communities.
Thank you.
My question to you is, I would love to know about your commercial strategy. I understand that doctors will get to bill for this because there are CPT codes,
Yeah.
but how do you plan to drive physician and health plan adoption of this tool when they tend to be inundated with a lot of tools and a lot of decision support solutions? What's different?
Yeah, so in starting our pilots, what we realized was that a lot of the physicians we're working with, so the federally qualified health centers and ACOs, are spending a lot of money and time doing patient navigation services, trying to work with community organizations, trying to figure out how to best support a patient that has social determinants of health, things like the ACEs study, like really understand the correlation between that and chronic heart disease. And we saw that by using, that's really our in, is saying, we understand you spend a lot of time with this and you're really trying to hire more people to do this work because you really want to spend time providing care to your patients, and they're having a hard time actually hiring people because they want these people to be culturally competent. And so that's really our in, is saying, we know we can come in, do this work for you. As you know, you also need to provide improvement metrics to say this is the kind of work you're doing. So we're really easing the burden of them instead of having them do that work. Because more of what they've been doing right now, so if you're a patient navigator, so we're one of the health services to work with at UAB, they're also doing community coaching, health outreach, so they're doing a whole lot which they can't possibly do. So we're really easing that burden on them, and that's been our end with providers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent presentation. I really enjoyed it, and I do have people in my family with heart conditions and heart disease, so this touches home. And I echo what Vanessa said in terms of condolences and recognizing your brothers in your loss.
Thank you.
You touched on go-to-market strategy a little bit, and so if we can just dig there for just a second and tell me a little bit about what kind of phases you're going to go through.
Yeah. So right now we're focused on those federally qualified health centers. We've really kept it at 2 regions, California, which is where we're based, or based in Oakland, and so we're looking to expand here as well. And then we have relationships out in the Southeast in Alabama, so UAB has been a really good piloting center for us, as well as a huge need out there due to the significant health inequalities and disparities that exist in the South. So initial go-to-market is really working with those centers because they're quicker to make decisions. Also with ACOs, we found that they can tend to be a lot quicker as well in terms of making the decisions that we need. And then going from there, we're looking at actually starting to partner with health plans. So this is something we're starting in Oakland, starting the conversations with health plans like Alameda Alliance. So those are focused on Medicaid type populations, where we can use the data from the pilots we've done and show that this is kind of what we're doing. This is how this has helped address things that they care about, like gaps in care, like screening processes, really understanding what patients need. So that's kind of our next stage, really looking to work with health plans because we know that's exactly how we can grow and scale Oban.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to our judges. Thank you, Peter. A round of applause. Thank you. They say that passion breeds purpose and purpose breeds progress, so we can see the progress on you and in your business, so we're excited to see where it goes in the future. So we're going to move right on as the judges are again scoring up from the last round. We're going to move into our next participant, just to get up here, make sure the clicker's working, make sure the slides are okay, and we have no feedback. In fact, actually, I'm going to, my mistake, introduce Kwame.
So, doesn't Angelique have the best expressions? I grew up in the black church too, but I cannot compete with your expressions. PTL. All right. So thank you, Angelique. Texas Medical Center Innovation has selected Navigate Maternity for an automatic entry spot into their health tech accelerator, where they will have curated engagements with experts in clinical trials, regulatory strategy, data security, hospital procurement, pilots, intellectual property, fundraising, marketing, and other critical areas. Support will focus on supporting preparedness for studies or implementations with health systems and research institutions in the Texas Medical Center and beyond. Congratulations, Navigate Maternity.
That's wonderful. We have many special prizes today that you guys will be hearing about as we go through the program. Now we're going to invite up our third finalist, Maria Navas Moreno, CEO and co-founder of Illumify DX.
We can defeat cancer, and early diagnostics is the way. Hello, my name is Maria Navas Moreno, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Illumify DX. Cancer runs in my family. My older sister was diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer. an odyssey of treatment and chemotherapies. And many years later, she's still under medication and suffering the consequences. My younger sister was also diagnosed with breast cancer, but she was detected early, and it was a simple surgery. That's when I realized what defeating cancer truly means. And it's not only them. In fact, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will develop cancer in their lifetime, but there are only screening tools for half of them. And even for those that have screening tools, with the aging population and the increasing number of cancer survivors, the current technologies cannot keep up with the number of tests that we need to make sure that everybody is taken care of in a timely manner. So we set out to change that, and we developed a technology that detects cancer early, that is reliable, that is accurate, and that is scalable. This is how it works. We use samples that are easy to collect: blood, saliva, urine. After very minimal sample processing, we use a laser to scan the sample and collect a comprehensive snapshot of the chemical composition of the sample. And then our algorithm, based on machine learning, is able to, based on minimal changes, to discriminate the status of the sample base and make the diagnosis as either healthy or cancerous. The whole process only takes a few minutes and is fully automated, which is a lot faster than other technologies, thousands times faster than technologies based on next-generation sequencing, for example. Our technology is a platform technology that has been tested and validated in many different types of cancer and can be used all throughout the cancer cycle, from screening all the way to the recurrence of, the monitoring of recurrence in cancer survivors. And we have decided to focus on the later one because of the urgency of the problem and also because of the size of the market. We actually focus on head and neck cancer specifically because there are no tools specific to detect head and neck cancer. This is really behind in terms of diagnostics, but it has advanced tremendously in terms of treatment. So there is a lot to be done and a lot of impact, potential impact for this disease. We tested our technology, and the results are impressive for stage 1 and stage 2, and even if you compare with the latest technologies that are being tested right now. Andrew is our medical advisor. And this is our market. For current cancer survivors, we estimate that they will get tested 2 or 3 times a year. Based on comparative analysis, we know that the test will cost around $250. And we know that there are about 700,000 head and neck cancer survivors. So that is a market of about $500 million. Our next step will be to move into other types of cancer, and like lung cancer, it is still staying into the recurrence space. Finally, this is the team. This is my second company in the space of optical spectroscopy, and I cannot go back. Yeah. And my co-founder is Professor Randy Carney at the University of California, Davis. We both are leading experts in the core technology of Illumify, and we both bring a lot of experience at the intersection of business and technology, and unfair access into resources and partnerships that pertain to the development of and the deployment of this technology. We have an amazing team of mentors and advisors in all the key aspects of the technology and the business. And we are now exploring partnerships and potential customers with different cancer centers that will let us expand past the head and neck cancer. This is what we are looking for now. We are looking for $5 million to get us into our own lab right now, to help us launch our test directly to patients, and to help us prepare for our first submission to FDA. So we are looking for partners to help us give cancer patients their best chance at quality of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maria. Great job. Now we're going to have Isaac, and we're going to have Luis.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation and really good job. My question is about the technology. So basically, how can you avoid false detection, and like what is the exact footprint that will differentiate between, for say, Alzheimer, flu, or cancer in this area?
Can you repeat the last part of the question?
So what is the footprint that you're looking for that will enable you to avoid misdetection, false detection? So for example, not confusing flu, Alzheimer, or any other disease with the cancer.
Oh, I see. So that's a really good question. Our analytes, we analyze thousands of molecules. So we don't look at a single analyte. And our algorithms really look at all the information in context. And so it's really looking at all the information in context that allow us to differentiate. So it is a fingerprint for each disease. It is really unique. Each disease has a unique fingerprint that is based on each molecule. So it's like, how do we, each of us have, even though is the same skin, right? It's the same cells, it's the same components, we all have different fingerprints. It's the same thing, but at a molecular level. Yeah, I hope that answers your question somehow.
As you eventually reach physicians and patients, tell me a little bit more about your commercial model. How are you going to sell? Is it a product that central clinical labs will use? Or?
So right now we are thinking of us as a send-out lab, so where we collect, the samples are collected locally, they send the samples to us, and then we analyze. That's because we are being a lab-developed test, so we can, we don't need FDA certification at the beginning. We are working on that. And then we will, as we pursue the FDA certification, we can expand and then license to other commercial labs or to hospital labs so they can also run the test. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you. We're going to move right along to recoup a little bit of time. So I'd like to please welcome our 4 finalists, Shasha Junebrain, CEO and founder of Level 42 AI, Inc. And the judges will give them just a few seconds to wrap up their thoughts before you start, Shasha.
So where I come from, we communicate first via our hands. I'm going to ask you to greet me as I'm doing right now. Clap, clap, clap. Now, the reason I'm making you do that, and I'm going to make you do it again, I want you to feel how the air moves between your hands, and also how, as you change from doing a lateral clap to an opposite clap, and then the clap across, just feel the air. Just do it quickly again with me. Now that's what's going on inside your body right now. You're a musical instrument. And that knowledge has existed for the last 4,000 years. And the question I'm going to ask you now, and I'll ask you at the end, is, do you sound as good as you look? My name is Shasha Junebrain. I'm the CEO of Level 42. And the problem that we're working on is the fact that the current diagnostics environment is completely broken because we focus more on catching disease after it's established rather than catching it to prevent you. Now, there's probably close to 100 people in this room. I can guarantee you that not one of us is actually going to die of old age like the Queen did recently. We're all going to die because of some kind of disease. Now, if you're a car and you know that something is going to break, you'd actually have a sensor that tells you to go get that car checked. Where's your warning light? I don't have one. We need one, right? Yes. Because most of the diagnostics that we have right now, they catch disease late, they're invasive, they're inaccurate and inflexible. And of course, most of them are actually sitting in the hospital where most of us can't even go. We need to change that. Now the solution is quite simple, and I'm holding it in my hand right here. We need a better way to be screening ourselves more frequently at home in a way that's completely unobtrusive, so that you can go to the hospital and get the checkup that you need to do, similar to a check engine light. That's the gift that we're providing to you. Our competition is all focused around signals that come from your body that you could hear. When we were clapping, you could hear the sound. But actually, our bodies, you can't hear your heartbeat. You can't hear yourself breathe. That means most of the sounds that our bodies are generating are all in the low frequency range that you can't hear with your ears. And that's what we're providing as a company. We actually cover a range of data that no other company is collecting at the moment. And that means there's a great opportunity for us to look at not only pulmonary diseases, which is the movement of air, but also cardiac diseases, which is the movement of fluids and air, and of course the gut, which is also moving solids at the same time. Now, of course, I can see some of you looking at each other saying, I don't sound like that guy. You mostly don't. But I'll tell you one thing, the air and the fluids inside you sound exactly the same, whether you're here, you're in Africa, or you're in Brazil. And that's what our solutions are looking for. They don't care what you look like or how you're dressed. We're actually looking at how all these fluids and air is moving around. And actually, to make sure that this is an accepted idea, we've done clinical studies all over the world to show that it doesn't matter whether you're American, Canadian, Brazilian, or from India, you're a musical instrument. A C sharp on a violin, viola, or a cello sounds exactly like a C sharp in anything. And that's exactly what happens with the air and the water that's moving around you. And our accuracy for COVID-19, asymptomatic COVID-19 detection is greater than 92%. And my team hates me for having made us go after COVID-19 because it's the most difficult and most confusing disease to go after because most of us express it in a different way. That's the worst result that we get with our solution. When you look at TB, when you look at RSV, when you look at dengue, our results are much more accurate than that. And again, looking at the data coming from the Johns Hopkins clinical trial here, we show that whether you're sitting, standing, lying down, your body is indeed a musical instrument. It changes the sound. But then on top of that, when you have a disease, we can actually detect what that kind of sound is and also be able to differentiate between the different diseases. The promise of this early detection system is huge, over $1 trillion. And that actually is covering people who not only want to be better or be healthier, but people who actually are trying to extend their athletic capabilities. Our business model is via subscriptions and also the novel database that we're building. And we're already going after the VA because we've got a grant from Operation Warp Speed. And to finish, we've won a lot of different awards, and our team is magnificent. And we're raising $3 million to accelerate growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shasha. Great job. So what we're going to do, Vanessa and Ricardo, and we'll start with Vanessa.
Sasha, great presentation. You had me at the first clap. What is your regulatory strategy? This solution has the potential to be a game changer in terms of early detection, but I'd love to hear where you are in terms of understanding what kind of licenses you might need, what additional clinical data you might need, and how you plan to move along that path.
Right, thank you for that question, Vanessa. We've had 7 meetings with the FDA and the Health Canada over the last 12 months. We are actually in the rest of my team is not here because we're preparing our submission for the FDA in 6 weeks. So that's where we are. Because we did clinical studies in the US and also outside the US, we're doing a clinical validation study here that is sponsored by the Operation Warp Speed grant that we have at Walter Reed Medical Center.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, great presentation, Sasha. I see what's going on here, master presenter. So next time you give me a master class on how to present, that'd only be fair. Level 42, I like the band. That was glad to see it's the different thing
David,
here. Yeah,
David
inspired.
King, I know.
Yeah, something about, I knew there was something about you.
Thank you.
It's a private joke here. So I love this. I've heard about something similar, Sinola.
Yes.
So what's the vision here, the fifth vital sign, kind of the vibrome, and what's the kind of grandiose vision at the end of the day?
The grandiose vision is that the genome is the template for all of us, right? But the vibrome, which is the new science that we're introducing, is a manifestation of that genome. Also added on top of that, the environmental exposures. As you probably know that right now, zip code and your age explains much more how long you're going to live. Yeah. And your vibrations, in fact, actually capture all that information because we're capturing the exposome as well as the epigenome. And you're like a tree where the rings that are around that core that is you is actually the vibrome, and that's what we're capturing. So this database that we're creating will pretty much exceed what the genome project has done to date.
Right. I'll call you about the classes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fasha. So we're going to go right on to our fifth finalist, and that is Hafiza. Hopefully I have pronounced that right. And we are going to have you present, but as you're getting ready, we're going to let the judges finish up. You guys do have a few more seconds to get going. Just want you to get comfortable up there on the stage. She's the CEO and founder of Umi Healthcare, Inc. And just get yourself, you don't have to start it, just prepare, relax into it. Get good vibes. So we just hear about good vibes.
Yeah. I know.
All right, and judges, when you're ready, maybe someone just hold up a finger, just so he knows.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hafiza. I'm the founder of Umi Healthcare. In October of 2020, my son, who was 6 at the time, came to me and said, "Mommy, I feel like I want to kill myself." As a mom, I felt like a failure. But what was even worse is that I was an executive for a Series A mental health company with more than 2,000 therapists, and I could not find care for my son. Because of his disability, he has Medicaid. My son is not alone. There are more than 40 million children in the US that have Medicaid that need access to mental health care. But most facilities and mental health providers don't accept that insurance. So my goal is that how do I solve that problem? What I started doing is looking for providers who are willing to take that insurance, train them, get them up to date, and encourage them so that they can be able to provide outcomes to the patient population that needs it the most. And our care that we provide are personalized. So we do therapy, psychiatry. We work with the families, the entire family unit. We work with the schools, pediatricians, so that we're able to provide that care that's very comprehensive and inclusive. We work directly from a B2B perspective. So we partner with schools, Department of Social Services. So we look for anywhere that Medicaid kids are, we find them, and we take care of them, because they deserve to have equal access to care. One of our partners are Johns Hopkins. The competitive landscape, there's a lot of mental health companies that are digital that are entering this space. The beauty about Umi Healthcare is that we don't look at them as competitors, we look at them as partners, because Medicaid is an afterthought, and that's the population that we serve. And when they told me, you can't make money with Medicaid, I proved them wrong. Our competitive mode is that we're able to work with the managed care organizations in the States to have contracted rates. We have delivered more than 6,000 sessions in less than 2 years. We are on track for an 800K run rate. What's even better is that we prove that the therapists that we train can reduce symptoms, where there's been a 78+ reduction in PHQ-9 and 72+ reduction in GAD-7, which are the anxiety and depression scoring. The BIPOC population, it's 60% of kids on Medicaid are BIPOC. 17% of providers are BIPOC, but at Umi, 65% of our providers are BIPOC, so we match the patient population that we serve. Not only that we want to provide the best care, we want to be able to provide the best technology. So throughout their care, they have technology that's engaging, that can help them improve outcomes, to work within sessions, to make sure it's like more comprehensive and they're getting the best quality as if they're paying $500 a session. And what's even better is that we wanted to find a solution not only that we can utilize with these kids, but in the masses, because 40 million kids is a lot. So we came up with bibliotherapy, which you can use in response for anxiety and depression. We write, illustrate our books using with clinical directors and clinical writers. And we're starting our clinical trial in June, with our first concept is on anxiety. So we're excited to see what the outcomes are so that we can be able to move on to depression and be able to move this on a large scale. Our focus expansion is that right now we're in the state of Maryland. We're going into states like Maryland, DC, Virginia. We have some in Oregon. So we're looking for partners to help us as we continue to scale across the different states. And our 2020 forecast, what we're working on presenting, is that we hope to achieve 50,000 patients next year with a 4 million ARR with a $2 million gross profit. So we're excited about that. We are raising a bridge round, so 3.5 million, and you can see how our investors are and how we're gonna split this investment to be able to help us scale and reach those kids in need. My superpower is building strong teams. We have more than 20 years of experience in working in technology, in healthcare, building algorithms to be able to recruit. Shannon was also the chief people officer at that large mental health company who built an algorithm, recruited 4,000 plus therapists. She works at Umi. We're going to provide that access to care. And also our clinical director and our MD who helps us making sure that we have peer reviews on whatever we're writing to ensure when the clinical trial is done, we can be able to serve it to the masses and be able to have a spin-up product, hopefully, so that we can really build and help take care of that population. I want to thank you so much for your time and for helping me help those kids who need us most. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent job. We're going to have Isaac and Luis.
I'm a big fan of the unmet need, so thank you for the presentation. Great job. And I think this is potentially can change the trajectory of the many kids. So
thank you.
Let's say I have a PPO and I'm using Aetna, and they have a direct access, I would say, to pool of professional patients, and they have a nice application. What basically prevent them to become Umi overnight? Or in other words, can you tell me more about your moat?
Our competitive moat that we have at Umi Healthcare is that we know how to onboard the Medicaid MCO so that we're able to provide care. And also that our training program is where we take new therapists. There are more than 20,000 therapists a year that need support to be able to finish their hours. And we're able to bring them in the market and train them. That is our competitive moat. But one thing I would like to say is that we welcome competitors because these kids need help. And we need about 15 more who are only focusing on Medicaid to be able to provide that care.
Again, great job and great mission. My question, talk to me a little bit on the patient side and on the provider side about sort of duration of engagement and churn. I'm guessing there's churn on both the patient and provider side.
So we average for a duration is that we average around 16 sessions per patient. We have a 96% commitment rate where 96% of our patients stay within our platform. And the reason for that is that we include the entire family unit. And because culture eats strategy for breakfast, we have an incredible culture at Umi Healthcare that our providers come, they learn, as well that we build them so that they can become the future clinical supervisors. And right now our attrition rate is less than 2% at Umi Healthcare.
Wow, okay, great,
Thank you.
Amazing. I like how Hafiz is like, yeah, it can't be done yet, bet. she was ready for you guys. She was ready for you.
I want coaching on answering questions from her.
Yeah, exactly. You were like, I got to get some better questions next time. All right, so we are going to take a minor break, but it's not really a break. It's actually a wonderful moment to hear from one of our MTC sponsors, the lovely Miss Vanessa, and she's going to talk to you about the excellent program that is being offered through your company.
Thank you, Angelique. Thank you, everybody. This is exciting. Aren't you guys excited about what's happening here in this room? All right, so my job today is to talk a little bit about a program at McDermott, Will & Emery. McDermott is a, oops, can't go back? Okay. McDermott is a founding sponsor, and proudly so, of MedTech Color. We've been with this organization from the beginning. We're a global law firm. We have about 1,400 lawyers worldwide. We have offices in Europe, UK, Singapore, and 4 offices here in the state of California. We are a top-ranked healthcare practice in the US, and we work a lot with providers, but what we do that differentiates us is we leverage all the learnings that we get from working with providers to really help our life sciences clients innovate. We have about 150 lawyers globally who practice in the life sciences area, and we focus on everything from corporate transactional IP employment to regulatory areas like mine, FDA law. So I want to say a few words about our McDermott Rise program, which we launched in 2020 with the goal of breaking down barriers to access for primarily Black and Latinx entrepreneurs, but also other entrepreneurs of color, and ensuring that they have ways to get access to high-quality, premium legal services. So with the RISE program, we provide a certain number of free legal services to our RISE members, and that's business and legal advice. So for those who are interested in working and joining McDermott RISE, go back. Here are some of our RISE companies. We have Clinify, which is a digital health company that is delivering high-quality patient care. We have Digitize, which is the world's first digital optical prescription company. We have Health in Our Hue, which is a digital platform that connects Black women to Black healthcare providers. And we have Centere, which is improving the Hispanic community's access to quality care, leveraging technology. So we are seeking members for our McDermott Rise program, and we're looking for great companies. We're industry agnostic, so it doesn't have to be healthcare and life sciences, but what we do want is founders that are Black or Hispanic or other founders of color. We are looking for a good, strong business plan. We need an excited and deeply engaged management team. It helps if your technology is disruptive, but it's not necessary. And it's important that you have a sense of your IP and that you own your IP. Last but certainly not least, we are very focused on technologies, companies that are really trying to solve problems for historically marginalized and underserved communities. So if you are interested, please apply to the program. It's mcdermottrise.mwe.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Just everything that she does for MedTech Color, she really is amazing. But what she just offered, the McDermott Rise program, I cannot stress from a founder that has been through every legal thing you can go through in contract and agreement and IP, that is invaluable, but there is a price point on it, and trust me, it's a lot of money. So please apply. We're gonna move on. If my notes are correct, we're moving on to our next finalist, as long as nobody stops me. And we are going to move on to Bobby Natoya, CEO and founder of Biomed. Bobby, all right, coming through, all right.
Good afternoon. I have up here, my name is Bobby Natoya. I'm a CEO and one of the founders at Biomed. And this is my Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Greg Taylor, one of the other founders in the company. Biomed is a healthcare platform. Is it starting? There we go. Biomed is a healthcare platform that uses technology and science to deliver highly personalized and precision medicine to improve patient healthcare outcomes. I just remembered I got to talk on the mic. One-size-fits-all mass production of medication costs the U.S. healthcare industry $300 billion a year due to the underrepresentation of women, people from racial and ethnic minorities, and other diverse groups in clinical research. 70% of dosages are ineffective, resulting in 125,000 deaths annually. 80% of all drugs removed from the US market in the last decade were withdrawn because their side effects occurred mainly or exclusively in women. 90% of all drugs fail during clinical trial despite significant investment in time and money because they don't adequately treat the condition they're meant to target or the side effects are just too strong. Our solution is bringing technology together to really solve this problem. This is how it works. A patient completes a healthcare assessment. A recommendation is then made for a tailored drug dose based on the patient's unique profile. A CAD software creates the 3D digital design of the pill, and then it goes to our 3D bioprinter, which customizes and personalizes the actual dosing for the actual patient. A nurse and a health coach actually monitors this with wearables, Apple Watch, Fitbit, to ensure the personalized dosage works or makes adjustments to the dosage if necessary. Our target addressable market is around $1.27 trillion in pharmaceuticals. We're really focusing on our SOM, which is our serviceable obtainable market, about $9.7 billion in a non-regulated environment in the US hemp-only derived CBD market. Our team consists of myself, again, you know my name, Bobby Natoya, MBA, I have an MBA from Marshall. The same here as Dr. Taylor. I've had multiple businesses and and some exits out of some of the companies and built some companies. Dr. Taylor runs Concierge at Keck Medicine, actually founded the program. We have our chief of staff, Erica De Jesus. We have Danny, who's our chief information officer, has 29 plus years of experience running IT. We have our chief growth officer, Dennis Park, who actually runs our initiative with Medibles.ai, which is our platform, and has led multiple initiatives at Samsung and Apple. And then we have our chief scientific officer, Noah Malstadt, who's actually a professor at USC with the Morg Family Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science at Viterbi at USC. So our competitors are largely foreign corporations and really focusing on large-scale manufacturing. Our specific focus is on personalized precision medicine, and that's really where our value proposition really lies. We've secured 9 patents in the areas of medicine, biotechnology, and health technologies. Currently, we're in the Viterbi startup garage at USC. We've launched our proof of concept, Medibles.ai, in the health and wellness space. We have post-revenue of about $300,000 year-to-date in sales. Our average monthly subscription retention rate is around 96.6%. Our subscriber monthly average revenue is around $90. Our average monthly growth is around 61%. We're currently submitting a breakthrough device designation filing with the FDA. We've completed our I-Corp, ZAP, and Boom program, and we're in the process of putting in our application for the SBIR Phase 1 funding grant. And we're also in the process of submission of several other federal grants. We're asking for $4.5 million, essentially for 20% of our company, to allow us to commercialize some of the technologies that we do have and get us to a monthly recurring revenue of around $1 million and then annual recurring revenue of around $12 million. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I'm willing to take questions from the judges.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bobby. We have Isaac and Ingrid. Actually, they're going to give you some wonderful questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I can appreciate the creativity and very interesting technology. My question is around, let's say dosage is something that is carefully evaluated during like a long and very expensive, by the way, clinical trials. So how Biomed is going to address this regulatory requirement?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We're going through the FDA for the breakthrough device designation process. to really try to figure out what the dosing aspects was going to be. Currently, we have about 500 people that have taken our assessment, so we're collecting all the data now, which is going to help us as we move towards over-the-counter medication or prescription medication. So we're basically capturing all the data using our AI machine learning software.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Excellent presentation, and you guys
Thank
look like
you.
you have some great traction already.
Thank you.
So everything begins with the AI. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about how you basically determine what are the inputs into the AI.
Yeah, so we actually set up a model, and we ask different questions depending on what we're trying to get. Because we're focusing on CBD, there are certain elements that actually CBD actually works for right now. So we'll ask, what is that element that you're looking to basically solve? What's the severity? What's the weight? What's the type of medication you want to take? What are you on? Because we also take 5,000 medication interactions. So we have that in our database. So it runs it on the back end to see whether or not there's interactions with CBD and your medications. And then we make adjustments with that.
You're going to make a lot of people happy.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful. So we are going to move right along. We have Ariana McGee. She's CEO and founder of Navigate Maternity. That name probably sounds familiar because she won a special prize earlier.
Hi, I'm so honored to be here today. We actually have a brief video that we want to show first, so if we can roll that. Thank you. Okay, no worries.
Admitted me into the hospital, and they told me that if I wouldn't have come in, I would have gone into septic shock. And that traumatized me. I want to have another child towards the end of this year, but I'm scared. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm terrified. I not had my mother there as an advocate. Had I not literally argued this woman down, I would have gone home, gone back to sleep, and my uterus would have burst, and I would have died, and my daughter would have died. And that has to stop.
I felt powerless as a man, as a husband. In that moment, I wanted to be her hero, but there was nothing I could do. She was being given the wrong fluids, and her brain stem actually, just herniated, and so, which caused her death.
Well, the questions that I always get is, Dr. Harris, number one, will I die when I have this baby? Number two, the question that I get is, if you're not around, who's gonna take care of me?
That was a difficult video to watch, but that is exactly what Navigate is here to try to solve. Is there a clicker by any chance? I'm sorry. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. This is my team, guys, and I want to roll right into the problem. So the U.S. has the highest prenatal and postpartum death rate of any high-resource nation in the world. Black mothers like myself are dying 3 to 4 times that national average. And my home state is actually ranked number 3 in the nation for prenatal and postpartum death. It was safer for my mother to have me in 1990 versus me having my daughter 10 months ago. This death rate has more than doubled. And per the CDC, we know at least 80% of these deaths are preventable. So we understand what a mother dies from, but we don't know the why, the how. How are 20-something, 30-something year-old women dropping dead? So my team, we've identified 4 key clinical gaps. Number 1, a mother's touched about 14 times during her prenatal and postpartum journey. These are snapshots, and so it drives reactive care. We do something once we know something. Third, we're not capturing social determinants of health, especially as it overlays with the real-time biometric data. And lastly, you heard many of us talk about our experiences with implicit bias. So how do we replace the subjective with objective data? And this is a problem we must solve. This is a $25 billion problem that is growing. With Roe versus Wade going away, we know that there are going to be more births, and yet it's not safer to have a child in our country. And that leads me to what we've created here at Navigate. So we've created this comprehensive provider dashboard and patient app that interfaces with our suite of sensors so that we can capture real-time biometric data, social determinants of health data, and mental health scoring so that we can intervene, our care teams can intervene before a catastrophic event takes place. And the one thing that I think sets Navigate apart in this market is that we're actually going through the process to be an FDA-cleared SAMD. That's really key to the reimbursement strategy and the scalability and accessibility of our product, because our goal is to make sure that we get this in the care teams or in the hands of care teams that serve women who are BIPOC or women who are on Medicaid. And that leads me right here to my TAM. This is a very viable TAM. So even with our go-to-market, our goal is to focus on those 62% of moms. The US market is north of $3 billion, global market north of $9 billion. Business model, very simple. So we have two buyers, health systems and payers, and our users are our patients and our care teams. And this is the team. You guys have met me. I have been in the healthcare space for 10 plus years. I have worked at some of the largest medical device and pharmaceutical companies in the world. My last role, I actually was the director of US market access at one of the largest medical device companies in the world. So not only am I passionate about Navigate from a personal standpoint, but I have the professional expertise to bring this device to the market. Lastly, Thea James has been in the healthcare space for 10 plus years. Dr. Harris is our practicing OB. She also sits on the regional board of ACOG, and our CPO has been in the healthcare space for 9 plus years, working in medical device sales as well as UX. This is our board. They're amazing, giants within the space, making sure that we build this product out, right? And my final question is, we've made a lot of traction. Can I count on you to help us in maternal mortality? Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. For everybody in the room, hopefully yes. So we're going to move on to questions. It's going to be Vanessa and Ricardo.
Great, well, I'll start. Fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
Extremely compelling. My question relates to how this actually integrates into the clinician workflow.
Exactly.
Doctors are inundated with a lot of information. EMRs are constantly pinging and alerting them. How does this integrate into the workflow?
So one of the ways that we started in terms of the build of this product is that we really focused on capturing the user's voice. And our CMO, who was a practicing OB, was like, we've got to make sure we're studying this. So we actually did a lot of the research and interviewing those doctors, having them test our product to make sure this would work into the workflow. Secondarily, we're gearing up now for the pilot study. We recently we're in talks with a large regional hospital system, and we're actually going to study this. We are going through the IRB process to actually study, making sure that this works in the current workflow and helps docs, not adding something on to their plate. Of course, thank you.
Technical question, is it possible to click to the leadership slide? Well, that's not easy at this point. Can we go back a slide?
Let's see.
You can.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
One more.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes.
if I were you, I would have just led with that and said, any questions?
Thank you. We've got a great team. Thank you.
No, it's amazing, right? So kudos for tackling this very timely problem. You've got the solution. You've got the team. You're focused on, I think you could pivot to a drive-through fondue place and probably get money.
Thank you.
But don't do that. I tried that. It wasn't good. So you're targeting Medicaid, and that is about half the births in the U.S.?
Absolutely. So that is the #1 payer for prenatal and postpartum care in our country.
And so within that, how are you thinking about further segmenting maybe chronic disease or gestational disease of just, who do you think is at highest risk that you would start with?
Right. So right now we're really focusing on those mothers who may have issues around hypertension, right? Because a lot of the issues that cascade of problems end up coming from that original hypertensive problem. So our goal, though, really, especially in our study, is we want to focus on all moms because one of the issues that we don't know, a mom may be fine pregnancy 1. I've had had, by the way, 4 babies. A lot of people don't, it's not on there, but I've had 4 babies, and they're all under the age of 6. Pregnancy 1 is so much different from pregnancy 3, right? Like you may not be able to proactively say, will this mom end up with a hypertensive disorder? That's what we want to capture with our platform. And over time, we want to really hone in on the AI piece so that we can eventually, with that data, predict, will this mother be at risk for hypertension? Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ariana.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I mean, what I love about all of the pitches that we've heard, almost all of them, is that they've all come from a personal lived experience that inspired the founder to take their professional expertise and just go for it to help others. So that is really impactful. I would love to have Kwame come up. He's going to announce some other special prizes from our partners.
I'm delighted to announce 3 companies that have been awarded the Harvard Catalyst Post-Education Prize. This is in medical device development, advancing from product to market. It's a hybrid course that explores the current climate for the development of medical devices. Those 3 winners are Illumify DX, Tanzan Medical, and Movement Interactive. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Congratulations to our winners. Again, we have, I think, a few more special prizes that we'll be going over, but let's launch into it with Justin Brooks, who is our 8th finalist. Guys, we're getting almost to the end, so, you know, this is going to be sad when we get to the end because this is so great. As Justin is getting set up and the judges are putting in their scores, I do want to say, you know, Justin and I went to college together. It's like a blast from the past when I saw him. Came in same year, graduated, I think, the same year. And then it reminded me that Ricardo was one of the first judges to ever judge me in a pitch competition. So when I said relationships, these people don't leave. They just keep following you around, guys. So it matters what you do today. All right, we'll get started.
Just for the record, she didn't tell me she was going to be here today. She surprised me. So good afternoon. My name is Justin Brooks. I'm a co-founder at Tanzan Medical. It's really exciting to be here. We've had a great time. Really looking forward to talking to you guys. So at Tanzan Medical, we measure leg movements during sleep to understand what's happening in the brain. And we're waiting on video input. There we go, it's back. So we measure leg movements during sleep to understand what's happening in the brain. The reason this works is because the brain has areas that allow us to walk and stand automatically without having to think about it. But to get restful, restorative sleep, those brain areas have to be turned off. But it turns out in a number of treatable conditions, those areas get turned on for just brief periods of time while we're sleeping, and we start to stand or walk, causing a leg movement during sleep. And so LMS are actually critical biomarkers for a number of health and wellness applications. When we think about the health domain, it's present in restless leg syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, ADHD. In the wellness domain, it's related to performance optimization, stress detection, obviously sleep quality. And when we think about this across the United States, it's estimated that LMS affects the quality of life for up to 100 million people who have otherwise a manageable condition. The real issue here is that the competition has not advanced the standard of care in quite some time. The current gold standard remains polysomnography, which if you don't know is a number of wires connected to your head, your leg, your chest, and you try to sleep, but the data has to be interpreted by a professional. It's super expensive and not interpretable to the lay user. I think we're all aware of the numerous garden variety wrist trackers that are completely missing the point of sleep movement physiology by measuring the arm. And for the handful of ankle-worn wearables that are out there, they're large, bulky, imprecise, and not at all used in clinical practice. And so this really has left a critical unmet medical need for a system that can affordably, conveniently, and accurately measure leg movements during sleep. And that's exactly why we developed ResEase. It comprises a multi-sensor ankle band, a machine learning algorithm that ties leg movements to brain activity, and software that allows us to interface with the device and provide readout to even non-technical users. It's protected by several US and international patents, and because of the innovation and the impact we're going to have on our future patients, we were granted FDA Breakthrough Device Designation in 2021. Beyond the engineering innovation, ResEase has been validated by a number of top sleep researchers. We have consistently shown an ability to accurately measure LMS. Our users, including sleep physicians, patients, consumers, rate us 4.5 out of 5 on a usability rating. And a lot of our science is published in the open literature and has been peer-reviewed by the top sleep researchers in the country. Beyond the science and engineering innovation, Resties represents a de-risked investment with a very bright future. Over the last 6 years, we've raised $1.4 million in non-diluting funds through co-founder contributions, friends and family, and competitive grants from the NIH and NSF. As we pivot towards our more aggressive go-to-market strategy, we plan to continue our sales to the basic research labs. In fact, we're nearly sold out of our current inventory. We're in the middle of a hardware redesign now to improve the form, fit, and function of the device. After that's complete, we plan to manufacture additional units so that we continue growing our sales and continue our R&D efforts. Concurrently, we're executing our pre-agreed upon 510(k) clearance pathway with the FDA, after which we will begin to approach the pharmaceutical companies to purchase our device to use in their clinical trials and to use Resties and to market Resties as its own autonomous medical device. As our name and brand recognition grows across those two domains, we plan to pivot to the consumer sales and wellness market. Sum total, we value this at about $46 billion, and given our accomplishments to date and current trajectory, we're hopeful for a less than 5-year buyout. Our team is 1 in a million. We've poured our blood, sweat, and tears into this project for the last 6 years, and we represent some of the brightest minds in sleep medicine, science, and engineering. Similarly, our advisory board represents some of the sharpest sleep scientists in adult, pediatric, and geriatric sleep medicine, and also those who are very well versed in the science and business of sleep. So in sum, I would say that we have the technology, we have the team, we have the plan, and we look forward to establishing the pathway with you so that we can improve the lives for millions of patients in the United States. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. We're going to have Isaac and Ricardo.
Thank you. Great technology.
Thank you.
Big fan. So my question is, many companies are chasing like sleep apneas and like what is make legs movement monitoring superior for to like let's say well-known and established solution like peripheral atrial signals monitoring, like for example we have the watchpad from Zoll and Tanzan Medical and some other solutions. So what is unique in this solution that is better than existing?
Yeah, sure. So the number one thing is that it's not very well known how pervasive a problem leg movements during sleep are, and they actually affect millions and millions of folks, for a number of conditions that I enumerated up there. And really no one has taken the time to focus and drill down into how these leg movements are associated to brain activity and then how it affects all kinds of sleep conditions. And quite frankly, there's no technology out there that has been developed to really address that market as well as it could be done. And quite frankly, to us, that's an advantage, right? Because our competitive space is much smaller. We can make money and help people at the same time with relatively little input. So, yeah.
Justin, great job on the presentation. Tell me how this would affect sleep docs, their business, how they may and may not be more inclined now to treat leg movement disorders if your technology makes it to market.
Sure. So as you might have guessed, we have a lot of sleep physicians that we interact with to talk about the device. And one of the main issues they have are their restless leg syndrome patients, RLS patients, because right now the diagnosis is largely clinical. And so you get somebody coming in telling you, oh, I've got creepy crawly sensations in my leg, oh, I've got an itch in my leg, but I get up to walk. And it gets interpreted all kinds of different ways by the medical community. Our device gives you an objective marker. So now you've got a sleep physician that can write a note and say, oh yes, by Resties criteria, we saw this many leg movements over the sleep. In conjunction with our clinical examination, we think this patient has RLS. And then beyond that, once you establish the diagnosis, our device can be used for treatment management because the leg movements respond to treatment, so you can actually show objective improvement in the condition. So that's how we think about it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Justin. We are down to our 9th finalist. It's Samantha Scott, CEO and founder of Junebrain. Samantha? Oh, here we go. Give her another round.
Can you hear me? Okay, great, great. I have a soft voice. All right, thank you so much. It's nice to be here. I'm Dr. Samantha Scott, CEO and founder of Junebrain. A few years ago, well, actually, I'm also a biomedical scientist, engineer, neuroscientist, all of the nerd factors, but a few years ago, my ophthalmologist diagnosed me with a neurological disease. And I was immediately faced with a challenge. One is that my neurologist can only see me a couple times a year. And on the other hand, I have to self-report changes in my symptoms between those visits. And they use that information to make treatment decisions, which is very subjective. And there's around 1.3 billion people worldwide who suffer from poor monitoring. So to solve this challenge, we've developed an accessible eye scanning technology to disrupt the OCT space. OCT is also known as a retina scan. So if you go to the eye clinic, it takes pictures of the back of your eye, and that provides essential information about eye and brain disease. So the problem with OCT is that it's a very legacy industry. So that includes costly labor from retinal photographers who have to operate the devices, and then the devices themselves are very expensive, very heavy, and only in specialized clinics. And at the same time, the prevalence of eye and brain disease is also increasing. That includes macular degeneration and multiple sclerosis. So our solution is the NeuroEye. It's a wearable, AI-driven OCT device, and our goal is to combine accessibility with intelligence. So compared to current commercial devices on the right, which again require a trained technician, and it can only be used for annual monitoring, our device can be used by patients on their own, inside or outside of the clinic, on a much more frequent basis. It's automated, so it doesn't require a trained user to operate the device, and it's portable, so it can be used in eye care clinics and outside of eye care. And on the back end, it's driven by artificial intelligence. So we have a deep learning algorithm that we've developed with our collaborators at Hopkins University, and it automatically analyzes images from our device and extracts features that are important for eye and brain disease. And our image analytics are so good that we've had customers come to us who already have OCT machines, and they just want access to the software to analyze their data. So we've had great traction to date. We've raised almost $2 million from grant funding and almost $600,000 from angels and accelerator programs. Our device is patented in the US. And we've also completed our first clinical study. It was successful with our device and software. And really importantly, we have more than $300,000 in sales backlog. And that includes letters of intent from major eye care and brain clinics in the US and Canada. So how does it work? A patient puts the headset on for just a couple minutes. It takes images of both eyes. Those eyes are sent to our cloud platform and analyzed, and a report is sent to the provider just highlighting any significant changes in disease. And they can use that to make treatment decisions as well as follow up with the patient. So we have a simple revenue model. On the device side, it includes a down payment and a monthly leasing fee. We also have recurring revenue from the image analytics service, and there are already insurance codes that will reimburse for OCT exams. So we've conducted more than 300 customer interviews to date around the country, and we use that to build and validate our business model. So that includes this year generating first sales revenue from researchers. Next year, our goal, once we have FDA clearance, is to move our device into clinics. That includes primary care, urgent care, neurology clinics, retail eye care centers, and pharmacies. So this is really when we begin to build a world where if you have someone with active retinal disease, they can go to their local Walgreens and have eye images sent to their provider on a weekly basis, for example. And in turn, the pharmacy also has access to OCT reimbursement revenue. And ultimately, our goal is to send the device home with patients for long-term monitoring. And that includes healthy individuals who are at risk of disease. So we have an awesome team of nerds, basically, tech and business nerds, everyone that's needed to successfully commercialize an OCT device. My degrees are from Stanford, USC. I did artificial intelligence at Oxford. Just nerd upon nerd, sorry. And our advisory board is also awesome. So we have renowned clinicians from Stanford, Johns Hopkins, Duke University, as well as successful MedTech entrepreneurs. So thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have Vanessa and Ingrid ask questions.
Samantha, great presentation. As an
thank
FDA law nerd, I'm always down to be in the company of other nerds, so I love it. I'm very interested in how you plan to scale up this technology. It seems like a great idea. There are lots of initiatives about moving care, from traditional hospital to the in-home. But what's your plan to scale up to be able to produce the product?
Sure, that's a good question. So again, initially, we're targeting the research market, and that's because we can sell before FDA clearance. And the goal there is to reach multi-site clinical studies. So in that way, we're scaling up our device to multiple sites at one time. Once we do go to market, we're really targeting a chain, so clinic chains, pharmacy chains, so they can help us scaling up our product to multiple locations.
Thank you very much. I love the idea of the accessibility and portability of being able to do this in the home. My mother had macular degeneration.
Oh.
So I have a question about the quality of the scans that you guys do versus what exists in the market today.
That's a great question. So we specifically designed our device to match the performance of what's in the clinic. And the reason for that is with brain disease, you have to have a high-resolution device, and that just happens to also work well for retinal disease. So our speeds are actually a bit higher, which is on purpose because people have to use them on their own. You want it to be quick, but also our resolutions are equivalent to what's on the market.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. We are down to our final finalist, Eric Luster, CEO and founder of Movement Interactive. So as you're setting up and the judges are finishing their scoring, comfortable, come up, the stage is yours. And if the judges want to just lift a little finger, give the church finger so that we know you're ready.
Not yet.
Excellent. 3 blocks from where I sat in Arizona, tragedy struck, and it was really close to home. This is number 22, Mr. Charles Yavella. He was playing a high school football game and came down from northern Arizona to play football in the playoffs in southern Arizona. Charles suffered a concussion while he was celebrating. So no eyewitness accounts could report. He was celebrating. All the onlookers, the coaches, his fellow players, they did not know that he was concussed. Moments later, Charles continued to play and collapsed on the field. He did not make it alive. My son plays on the same field on Saturday, and Charles had the football game on Friday. It was so close to home. So I made it a mission to do something about the concussion epidemic. I'm Dr. Eric Luster, and I'm the CEO and founder of Movement Interactive. I started off my professional journey with the United States Army, where I enlisted as a nuclear biological chemical specialist. This was over 20 years ago. I was fortunate. I was stationed in a tactical satellite battalion. Our unit was one of the first wave into Kuwait, into Iraq, into OEF, OIF. So I started to see firsthand what traumatic brain injury could do. But I had to really put this together and find out how to solve this problem. So I started to hone in on youth sports. I figured that the youth players that were suffering from concussion were being pushed by coaches, being pushed by parents to continue to play. So with this problem is there's an estimated 4 million sports-related concussions each year in youth sports. Approximately 50% of those go undetected. This is a $76 billion problem. It causes chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, which is a degenerative brain disease. So I put a team together and a solution to do something about this. We built a wearable compact sensor that's lightweight and fashionable to apply across multiple sports for our youth players. The way it works is that you wear the sensor that's tracking linear acceleration and rotation, and via the sideline in our mobile app, we send alert data to the parents on the sideline. This is essential data because it not only captures what's happening on the field, but it works the same way as your airbag in your vehicle. And so it classifies each head impact based on the severity level. This is how we stack up against our competitors. There are a lot of sensors that have been developed in this space, but what we do have to separate ourselves is we've patented our solution. And also, we've conducted over 500 customer interviews, and we found out something profound. We found out that the technology was great, but the kids would not even wear the technology unless it was something fashionable to deploy. Yeah. So I had kids that said, hey, Mom, I'm not going to wear the black standard headband. So of course, just like we always do, we continue to innovate. So this is us on the field doing an IRB approved user study with one of the players that's going through the clinical trials that we put together. We have gained quite a bit of traction. And so in sports, we are the official provider for the Women's Premier Soccer League, which is the largest semi-pro women's soccer club. That contract will get us around $400K per year as we get and fulfill the concussion detection services for the league. We also have the DoD arm that I'm very passionate about that serves as our R&D effort because we have to continue to innovate in this place. I happen to own a senior living facility in Glendale, Arizona with 150 units. So when COVID hit and we were off the field for 18 months, we continued to innovate. We used our patented sensor, we changed the software, and we started to use the sensor as a fall detection tool. So it's action-packed what we're doing, but it's all around one customer, and that is the sandwich generation, that's Mom. Mom is inundated with these requests from 2 to 3 youths that are playing sports and 2 to 3 seniors in their life. Here's our team, and we're specialized. I have a PhD in electrical engineering, a neuroscientist, and a leading expert in accident reconstruction. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Wonderful. Great job, Eric. Way to cap it off. We now have Ingrid and Luis that are going to give us some scoring questions.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. I love that sandwich analogy that you use because that is extremely true. So like you said, there's a lot of sensors that are out there. You guys have started off well with the Women's Soccer Association, but I'm trying to find out and learn a little bit more about how you're targeting and developing your outreach strategy. What happens after this?
Excellent. And one of the slides I didn't get to. So we execute a B2B model initially. So although we are the provider for the Women's Premier Soccer League, this is actually the gateway to our customer with this, which is youth sports. So throughout the Women's Premier Soccer League, there's 170 clubs. And if you go to any game, the audience are little girls that are watching that all of the other WPSL players are wearing. So when they go out and get a Lululemon headband, you have an entourage of youth players going to get a Lululemon headband. So B2B and then eventually B2C.
Thank you.
My question is more, remind me, the headband sends an alert to an app. I'm wondering that point of intervention. How does it inform that point of essentially either get off the field or what other interventions are there?
Yes, so we have a three-way alerting process. So if the algorithm runs on the sensor, so it has to be worn and is placed near the center of gravity of head. And so if there's an impact that is determined to have a severity level of severe or moderate, then that audible alert, the visual alert will actually go off. And therefore, the player nor the coaches can actually turn it off. It would have to be someone that's authorized within the app to turn it off. Because what we found out, and this was scary for myself because I continue to push my kids and I say, hey, keep going. But we found out that mom was the only one that regardless of what was going on, you're getting off the field. Win or lose, championship or not, I don't care. So.
Thank you.
You guys have another minute. Actually, those are quick questions. Do we want to have any other questions from any other judges before we? If not, we'll go ahead and let you off the hot seat. All right.
Oh, I enjoyed
there you go.
this.
Amazing job. Well, let's give a round of applause to all 10 of our finalists. Excellent job. Excellent job. I'm going to invite Kwame up, who's going to give us some more special prizes. You guys have a chance actually now to make some decisions about money being given away. So we'll have that in a moment. So Kwame, I'll let you take it away.
This is about the second time I heard Samantha say we're a company of nerds. So I have a question. What do you call a nerd 5 years after school? A nerd. Boss.
Boss.
So nerds are good things. Thank you, Angelique. Now we have special prizes and the People's Choice poll and vote while the judges are all finalizing their scores. We start with your vote. The People's Choice voting. Scan this QR code to cast your vote. Those of you watching virtually, look in the chat. Look in the chat for the link to vote. It's your turn to vote now for the Community Impact Award for $5,000.
And as they're voting, judges, you're going to remain seated because you did such a great job with the math. You don't have to go out and deliberate.
Well, all right.
Is everyone getting the QR code? I think depending on the angle, you might have to. Don't be shy if you need to get up and move a little bit to get the. There'll be no judgment.
While you all are submitting your votes, I'd like to take this moment to sincerely thank our marketing partner, Brand LA. Ivy Arias and her team have gone above and beyond for this special event in supporting our branding needs. Ivy, where are you? Thank you so much, Ivy. There are a few other partners that I believe are in the audience. MedTech Innovator, I believe, is here. And some of the winners will get interviewed by our partner in media, the Mullings Group, as well, a little bit later after this program. So I remain on stage while Angelique announces the UCLA special prize.
Yep, so I think we're giving you guys a moment to do that. See, you ready to read the notes, Kwame? That was Kwame's way of saying, I'm done. Okay, well, we have a special prize from UCLA. It's actually from the California Nanosystems Institute at UCLA. And they're going to award Illumify DX $3,000 voucher to utilize. Round of applause. So this is a voucher for them to utilize their technology centers. And these centers actually offer research capabilities in imaging, high throughput screening, nanofabrication. As well, they're going to extend them an invitation, a priority review into their Magnify incubator. So let's give them a round of applause. Illumify DX. And Kwame will get us with the CLS prize.
Oh, yes. So at this point, I'm going to invite Sabili from California Life Sciences up to tell us about the California Life Sciences prize.
impressed by all the presenters. I don't know, Kwame, did you find all those? Because we also have an innovation showcase coming up, but I was quite impressed also by the judges, and I want that moderator. So I'm Sibylla Hauser. I'm the, how would you say, Executive Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So I deal my lifelong with startups, but I also have a corporate background. And I loved all your presentations, and I need to get into this masterclass preparing you because I was really impressed. So most of you might not know what California Life Sciences does, but we are a trade association, but we also have an accelerator-like program. And so what you said about the in-kind sponsorship and the relations, that's where we come in. So we have more an in-kind sponsorship here or gift, which is the access to our accelerator, which is a customized advisory service over 10 weeks. And then we put you also in front of investors. If you're currently racing, if you're not racing, you're still in front of investors, and you will be on their radar. And one of them could be Kwame next time. So without further ado, our review team at CLS did select somebody, and I do it like in the Oscars. Drum rolls. And I personally also did okay, it is Biomed. So, because we like the manufacturing part, no? I guess. So it was really a pleasure being here, and good luck to everybody in your fundraising rounds.
Congratulations, Biomed. Next, I would like to take a minute to highlight our wonderful host. She is so good, isn't she? Dr. Angelique Johnson. I learned so many new expressions today. For doing an amazing job today. Dr. Johnson has been with us from the very beginning when we started this organization. And I invite you to say a few words about your new company, Visionarium, and staying vision rich.
Ooh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Kwame. Thank you actually Kwame called me on the phone. Relationships. Kwame called me on the phone and said, hey, I know your older brother. And I said, oh, Lord. Now I got to say yes to whatever he said. But he gave me the best opportunity ever, which was to be a co-founding member of MedTech Color. So thank you, Kwame. You know, when I started out, I was much like you guys. I was doing a tech startup in the medical device area. And everybody was there when it was the pitch competition time. Everybody was there when it came to ideation, right? That's figuring out the idea. Everybody's there for the business plan. Everybody was there, even when it came to dealing with investors. One of the very first, and I didn't take it, that's a long story, you can ask me that later, investment offer I got was from a billionaire out of Chicago called Sam Zell, and still a relationship, and that area, Grandson just called me, but I didn't take that offer, and I went out and I said, okay, now it's time to build this startup. And nobody was there. Nobody, and I, to be quite honest, and this is no knock against everybody that was there along the way, they couldn't have been there. Most people that are helping in the startup world are not people that are actually have the experience of executing and building or built a startup. So I was going to ask them simple things like, well, what about, I got to hire somebody, I got to hire these like employees and like payroll and like, how do I do a fair interview process? Okay. I got to build out a lab in this facility, and you know, no, I don't have a university to help me with I got to do this from scratch from the beginning. So what I found was, oddly enough, it was the dreaded, the dreaded lifestyle businesses that knew how to execute. And it was the startup, right, and everybody in the startup world that knew how to scale. And as I had to go through that whole journey myself, learning how to do it myself, trying to grab in partners and grab a support system here and there, I didn't want anybody else to experience that. I wanted to merge those two worlds, and that's what Visionarium is. We're merging all the intellectual, the investment knowledge of scale with the execution, the down in the ground, doing the work, hiring, building out, manufacturing, scaling, all that stuff that comes traditionally more from the small business, or the medium-sized business sector that doesn't even play in the startup space in many cases. And so what we're doing is we call ourselves entrepreneurial evangelists, and we're providing a support system for other entrepreneurial evangelists, and who we call visionaries. That means you're vision rich, right? You execute on your ideas. You don't just dream about them and let them pass you by. You actually are here to execute, and you feel compelled to execute. Kwame mentioned something about the church. I'll let you guys know, I'm a licensed minister. So I always tell people, you talk to me, you're gonna get a little Jesus around the way. But no matter what, every entrepreneur has faith. I don't know what your faith is in, but everyone has to have faith. You can't see it and you're trying to build it. And so for us, if you have that faith, right, and that vision, that's what we wanna help you execute. So we deal with corporations that wanna build that entrepreneurial mindset into their employee base because they're trying to increase the bottom line. You have a new generation and they all wanna be entrepreneurs. 70% of them, if you're hiring them, they want that spirit there, or they're gonna leave your corporation and go get the spirit somewhere else. You have entrepreneurs that are building businesses that we work with. Again, on execution, we will work with ideation, but we're filling that gap with execution and also the entrepreneurial mindset. So I can sit up here and talk all day long, but I did want you to know that if you're interested at all in visionary and what we're doing on the entrepreneurial mindset building, execution, strategy, if you just want to join, if you say, hey, I want to be on your team, we have several what we call business coaches and vision coaches. Hey, I'm interested in that. I want to help in that area. Please reach out to us so we can add you to our roster. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kwame.
So thank you very much, Angelique. I believe I heard that we are going to forego the Johnson & Johnson MedTech Award. Absolutely. And now I would like to invite Ricardo dos Santos, my friend, to the stage to announce the ResMed Special Prize winner.
Right. I'm still thinking. No, I was checking to make sure no one else from ResMed texted me an opinion. Well, first of all, thanks again to MedTech Color for inviting ResMed to be part of this party and inviting me, I guess, personally. What a better way to spend Friday. No, really, really thank you. It's an honor. Yeah, I love doing our special prize as well. It gets us more skin in the game here. What the prize is all about, it's about finding someone from the cohort that is a really good fit for us, a two-way street between, well, folks that we can learn a lot from and we would be primed to learn the kinds of things that they're working on. And then B, of course, someone we could truly support and accelerate their innovation in market so it could help and benefit the people it's intended to benefit. So that's kind of the criteria. Lots of candidates, but I think one specifically stood out. And before I blurt it out, again, the prize is, starting with, I think the most important thing, mentorship at ResMed with a lot of our experts in a lot of the medtech areas. And we have a lot of crazy folks at ResMed as well, so it's a lot of fun to meet them and exchange ideas and get their support. It also includes a $25,000 grant, undilutive grant to speed up the innovation. Probably worst of all, not best of all, worst of all, you get to hang around with me for 6 months, and we figure out a way to have next steps and continue the journey. So the winner is Tanzan Medical, Justin Brooks. Congratulations.
Truly a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Looking forward to it. Say a few words.
Angelique, you want to do this with me?
Absolutely.
All right. I feel like saying, you ready, B? All right. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. We will announce the main prizes. And I have it right here, Angelique.
Okay, perfect.
Angelique, please announce. Oh, wait. First, we're going to go to...
We have the Community Impact winner.
Yes. I'm pleased to announce the winner of the Community Impact Award is Umi Healthcare.
Woo! Yay!
Come on up. Come on up.
The price is right.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
The third place prize.
Navigate Maternity.
Congratulations. Wow. Oh, congratulations. Thank you. See, Kwame, she came over here. She wants to take a picture.
Yeah.
he's a bad one. Thank you. We'll take it. Okay. Awesome. The second place prize is Junebrain. Woo! Yes. Congratulations. I'm a hugger. Can't you tell we're awkward too? we can't even unawkwardly announce 3 prizes. You're in a company of nerds.
It is my pleasure to announce the finalists in first place and winner of the 2023 pitch competition, Umi Healthcare.
Woo! Yeah, listen. You heard that? Go Medicaid. I feel like we need a football you could spike.
Congratulations to all the winners today, and thank you all for joining. We hope you'll continue to support us at our upcoming events. We have a wonderful panel, The Big Histo, a Black Womb Revolution, in partnership with our friends at MedTech Women, Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. It's going to be at the Fogarty Innovation Center in beautiful Mountain View, California. Get ready. Vanessa, 6th Annual MedTech Color Networking Breakfast. That is coming up in October in beautiful Anaheim, California, in conjunction with the MedTech Conference, our wonderful partners at Biomed. And visit medtechcolor.org to learn more about these events and our programs. Thank you again to our dedicated sponsors for supporting MedTech Color, the finalists, and helping to make the competition a success. Thank you also to our partners who provide valuable in-kind services to the finalists and support our mission. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for being our host. Thank you to everyone who tuned in virtually. We hope to see you in person at our next event, and I invite you all in-person attendees for refreshments in the courtyard, and this concludes the 3rd Annual MedTech Color Pitch Competition.